Camada, OG Stilo. We know, gotta be the homie Kilo. Me and West Coast, how I keep it G. Yeah, I pulled up on 4 wheels, but I'ma leave on 3. See that booty quest, Camada, OG Stilo. We know, gotta be the homie Kilos. You see that 6'4", you see that set up. Pescos may take a while to walk, but she gon' let up.
What up, world? Today I want to talk about a magazine called Centerfolds. This is issue number 1. This dropped in 2021. This is the premiere edition. Definitely, if you don't have one yet, I definitely would pick it up. This is all presented by Beto. He's the one who used to shoot for Lowrider magazine. All of his photos are on point. And I mean, if you ever have anybody that's a photographer that is supporting your scene or just in the scene in general, I mean, you got to pick up that printed media, man. Everybody talks about Lowrider magazine needs to come back. Well, what if Lowrider magazine never comes back and you're not supporting this homie because you think Lowrider magazine is going to come back? It's not going to, man. Support everybody else out there. I mean, Centerfoldz is one of my favorite magazines out right now. There's only 3 really that I look up to. Well, maybe 4. You got Centerfoldz, obviously. I always pick these up. Full Life out of Japan. Always support those guys. I don't own any street level magazines. I'm looking to get more into those. And then you got La Cultura, which is hot. And I guess you got Lowrider Scenes. They also, so I mean, you got a couple people still in production. But this one, as far as a coffee table book, I definitely would recommend this one. If you want to have this one on the table when homies come through, it's definitely a different dynamic in comparison to just the typical magazines that are 8.5 by 11. The page stock, you could hear it's definitely good stock. This is the premiere edition of the magazine. If you don't have this one yet, I definitely would pick it up. The premiere edition of any magazine is usually harder to get because they usually do it in smaller batches. So I definitely would pick this up. Beto was selling these this was pre-2021 at Vegas. I think the second issue actually came out in 21 around Vegas. That's where I think I picked mine up. So I mean, pick up your magazines. Bro, this is issue number 1, right? This is issue number 2. The pages, they're literally double. So I mean, hit it out the park with issue number 1. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The premiere issue of anything is the person finding their actual ground and how to do the magazine. Beto didn't need to do that. Beto came from Lowrider magazine. He knew what he was doing. Composition, it's all there, man. It's straight, pick one up, it's straight fire. Issue number 2. More pages, like I said. This is definitely another one that hits it out the park. If you don't have issue number 2, I mean, they're reasonably priced in all comparison to what you're actually getting. A 12 by 12 high quality print book. I can't remember the exact price of this, but typically, I mean, if you were picking one of these up and in the small batch quantities that he's doing, I mean, you could easily pay over $100. I know that these are less than $100, and you might be like, damn, that's wild. But I mean, let's not fake like we don't know inflation's running a thing. Shout out to all the people in Bitcoin though. But let's keep it going. You know, this is double the page. I mean, moving, grooving. I mean, look at that. It's definitely a hot book to pick up. Maybe the only thing I could critique if I saw a little bit more bikes. But look, the whole Lowrider bike scene has definitely been. It's a difficult market, I understand, but I would like to see maybe a bike or 2 featured. But other than that, bro, it's on point. Beto knows what he's doing. He's been shooting forever. Like I said, look at these pictures. I'm going to go through it real quick. If you really want to copy and you want to read these articles, I mean, support the homie, man. Support anybody that's out there shooting. Any local photographer, anybody who's doing printed media in today's era. You might be out there thinking like Lowrider magazine is going to come back. Man, Lowrider magazine is not going to come back, man. It's a conglomerate, and there's too many people with their hands in the bag that are chasing the money. And you just need something a little bit more natural that's homegrown. I think that's what this is, you know. This is issue number 2, but recently, issue number 3 just dropped. Beto had a health scare, in case you didn't know, and, you know, it was a little scary there for a moment. We didn't know if he was going to make it or not. A lot of us pre-ordered. If you did pre-order, you were able to get 2 copies of the posters, which is really nice. So we'll go through that real quick. I have the one that still has staples in it, but obviously you got to open it up in order to see it because, you know, the pages don't really, it's not something you could actually open up and read. So I'm going to go through these real quick. Bro, these are hot. I mean, order the posters if you can. If you're still able to order them, definitely order these. They're high quality. I mean, you can hang them up. And that's one of my favorite things that Lowrider magazine actually used to do was the posters. And obviously, like I said, Beto comes from the Lowrider world. And so he knew what this was all about. So the posters definitely keep it moving. And it's just something else that's cool to have, you know. So I definitely would pick one of these up. Badass 6 tray right there with a badass photo with the model in the back. But I mean, these are all hitting it out the park. Each one of these, I mean, it's not just somebody going and, you know, flicking a shot real quick. He's bringing lighting, and it's a lot of post-production work. So, I mean, you got to support the homie. Hey, support anybody that's supporting the culture. You know what it is. But just want to share some of these. And he has posters for issue number 1 and 2. I didn't pick them up, man. I wish I would have. But I'm telling you guys right here, right now, today, if you didn't pick one up, definitely pick up the poster issues. I don't even know if the poster issues, I don't think they're available for the issue number 1 and 2 anymore. You might be able to still get the issues, but let's get into the issue number 3. With issue number 3, there's a letter from the editor where he talks about why he had to change his printing methods. He was going to go down to a smaller format, which was more similar to something like this, like an 8.5 by 11. But I'm honestly happy that he didn't, because what really makes it, like he mentions in the book, is the 12 by 12. 12 by 12 definitely sets it apart because this is a coffee table book. If you go into any high-end luxury store and you sit down, they usually have, if they have automotive books, they have something in this format. Being able to critique this from not only the lowrider standpoint, but from the design world, I mean, this is done really well. The page stock's all really nice. The only thing I could say is if he did some special editions that were hardcovered and signed a couple of them, I think that's a market that he might be able to tap into. Like if he did some leather bound, like a small production amount. Obviously, he's doing these. It's all homegrown. He said that he could drive to pick these up. But if they offer any options where he could do a couple special collector editions, I think that I definitely would pick one up. But I think that there would be other people interested in it as well. Because, I mean, we're collectors as lowriders. I've been saying it and I'll say it again. I mean, we like to collect. I collect magazines. Everybody has their own lowrider trinkets that they like to collect. Whether it's certain hydraulic parts, certain things like that. Even the Hot Wheels toys or any of the lowrider things like that. Everybody is a collector in this world. So if you did any special editions, I think it will definitely move. But in this one, you get a little bit more show content, which is nice to see because he's out there and it's showing a great broad thing. And I mean, it goes from, you know, from the West Coast to the East Coast. He has New York in here. And man, these are a lot of good photos. I think he used a couple different photographers, if I'm not mistaken. I think the homie out of Chicago Low, shot some of the photos in here. I'm gonna have to reach out to him to figure out if it was just a New York show or if he shot anything else. But I mean, well, these magazines are top notch. If you don't have one, I definitely would pick it up. I'm gonna leave the link below. You know, these are all over Instagram, but maybe you're not on Instagram and you're not hip, or maybe you just want to see these actually in a little bit more of a longer video format. That's what this is. So you guys can see that, you know, they're quality pictures, man. And if you want to actually read the articles are pretty good. I would add lowrider bikes, and the only other critique is to make sure to shoot the trunks. I love to see hydraulic setups. That's one thing I really like about the Next Full Life, the magazine out of Japan. They always show their setups. A lot of times those setups, man, don't sleep on the setups coming from Japan, man. The Far East don't play. A lot of the aircraft stuff, and even a lot of, like, you know, the Stillmans, and they definitely know what they have, and they know the honor of having a lot of good shit. So it definitely shows. But I mean, I can't hate on this, man. This is a top notch. I would love to have something like this one day of just my show work. But I mean, it's something to work towards. Beto's been doing it for a long time. As I said, he comes from the Lowrider magazine world. So for him to take this initiative on himself and to do it, I think he really knocks it out the park. The magazine's called Centerfolds because every single page is basically the centerfold of what Lowrider magazine used to be, which was the bread and butter, which you'd hang on your wall. Each one of these is definitely a top-notch photo. You can't critique it, man. There's nothing other than what I did critique, I guess, because I did say I would like to see more trunks, and I would like to see possibly a lowrider bike here and there. Because there's a couple bikes out of LA County and stuff that are not even only LA County, in all honesty. There's a couple bikes out there that are true to the lowrider world. I know Beto knows what's up, but any of the people in the lowrider bike world, like, I don't want to see any China parts or anything like that. If you have the honor of actually being in this magazine, I want to see something that's worth, that you put in your time and stuff for. And I think that would be hot, and a lot of the people would actually acknowledge it. So a lot of ads in this one too, which is, it's not a bad thing. I like to see that because that's showing that people support. In the early pages of this magazine, I think Dream On has one, Cadillac Connect, Ciadella, just a lot of seeing a lot of the people that are supporting. It's good to see. And I hope that this issue number 4 is going to come out soon because, you know, this is issue number 3 and this was in production basically throughout 2022. He wasn't able to get out much, I'm assuming, based on his health conditions. I know his family's helping him get these magazines out. And just want to say, man, support the homie, man. Support anybody that's local to your area that's doing print and media. Anybody in the lowrider world that's into photography. If they shoot print and media, if they're doing magazines, zines, any of that stuff. Hey, man, one day you're not going to be in the same position where you could purchase it, and you want to look back at some of these moments, you're like, damn, I wish I would have been able to purchase some of these things. And this is the best way to catalog, our lifestyle, We're able to look back at this, and that's why I've grown my collection to be as big as it is because I want to be able to look back and kind of remember and reminisce over these times that we've had lowriding. So if you'd like to do the same, feel free to pick up a magazine. I'm going to drop the link below for the Centerfolds. Buy all 3 issues, man. Buy the poster issues. I'm gonna see if I can get any of those poster issues. And Beto, if you're out there listening, man, what's up with a special edition? Get some hardcovers. I'm definitely down. Thanks for everybody out there. Peace.